Hey guys, welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. We're the Dialectics, part of the Royal Holloway Philosophy Society. I'm Yakub Mogul, and I'm joined here by the Vegan Society President at Royal Holloway, Eleanor Skelton. Got Vlad Ivlev in the room, and Karolis Kukonis. Today the topic is veganism. So, I don't know if you just introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. So, my name's Eleanor. I'm the president of the Vegan Society. We're a society that provides a place for vegans, vegetarians, and anyone who's interested in animal rights and plant-based lifestyles. It's just a place to come together, have fun, debate, educate yourselves and others. We have weekly core events such as film documentary screenings and debates, and also larger projects such as activism on campus. We had a Veganuary campaign last year, which helped people go vegan for the month of January. And we also had Animal Equality, which are an animal charity, the virtual reality experience known as iAnimal on campus for 2 days. And yeah, that's
awesome. Is it a big society here?
Yeah, so we have a 6-person committee, and then we have roughly about 15 to 20 people every week to our events.
Okay.
And there's loads more vegans who maybe come to like one thing here and there.
That's kind of what our aim is, 15 people.
Yeah, no, it's a good number.
It's a
you
good
don't
number.
have to book bigger rooms, so it's great.
Exactly. So everyone is vegan in the society?
No, so the whole committee are vegan. We actually used to be called VegSoc last year, and the year before that we were called the Vegetarian and Vegan Society.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it changed to VegSoc just because it sounded cooler, I think, really. But we were really more of a vegan society the whole of last year. I was on the committee last year as well, and everyone who came along was vegan pretty much.
Okay.
We didn't advocate vegetarianism because it's not something that we believed in really.
Oh, okay.
So we decided to change the name to something that better reflected our beliefs. But people who come along are vegetarian, got pescatarian. Sometimes people just bring their friends and to our film screenings and things like that. So yeah, it's for everyone really.
So I mean, just to begin with, there's a lot of misconceptions out there, or certain stigma involved with veganism.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's quite an extreme form, and you don't agree with vegetarianism, although that does seem to be perhaps a step in the right direction from a vegan perspective.
Not necessarily. Not all vegans are like that.
No,
I don't piss off all my vegetarian members. But yeah, so the misconceptions. So I think first of all, to start off with, it's not like the biggest issue or anything, but I think just to define the difference between veganism and a plant-based diet. So veganism is a lifestyle. It's not just what you eat. So I don't eat animal flesh or its products, or animal products. So it's dairy, eggs, honey, etc.
Honey is not,
Honey? No, I don't. Some vegans do. I don't believe it's vegan to eat honey, but
because it's produced
by bee, and it has environmental impacts. Although some honey companies they've their research that it's actually really good for the bees. So I don't really support that because I think it's an issue of exploitation. But it's not just my diet. I also don't purchase or use any cosmetic that's been tested on animals. And as far as medicine goes, if I'm like dying, maybe I'd take it. But otherwise, I don't use medicine that's been tested on animals. It's hard to avoid, and I wouldn't say.
Yeah. How many? Does that limit you in terms of medical treatment at all?
So if you wanted to be really hardcore about it, you couldn't take a painkiller, you couldn't ever have surgery, you couldn't do this.
Really?
If it's going to kill you, do it. Even if it's yeah, I know, it's I think that's really extreme. I don't think any vegan actually does that.
We'll be dead by now.
Yeah, so but I think I haven't had any problems with it so far. But if I really if I've got a cold, I wouldn't take antibiotics.
Okay.
Because I don't really need them. But if I was like really ill, then yeah, of course I would. But definitely cosmetics I think are so there's makeup and shower gel and toothpaste and things like that. I mean, it's so easy to find cruelty-free alternatives that to me there's no point in using those. And I also don't wear leather, silk or wool, or fur, of course. Most people don't agree with fur. I don't wear wool either. And I also don't believe in exploiting animals for entertainment. So that could be horse riding, horse racing, visiting zoos, or also paying for animals, like buying a pet. I believe in adopting pets. Some vegans don't believe in having pets in general, but so yeah, that just shows that it's a lifestyle rather than just what you eat. So you can eat a plant-based diet without being vegan. You can be vegan and eat like plant-based, which is if you just eat vegetables rather than loads of crap like what I eat. But they are two different things.
So you don't agree with having domestic animals or pets of any kind?
No, I do.
Oh,
I have like 30 cats, so I can't.
Okay,
right.
I was saying
because I rescue them. So
okay.
it's,
what would the justification for that be? Like not adopting animals?
So no, I think you should adopt animals if you want to. I don't really believe in. So the opposition, they would say that it's wrong to take a wild animal like a cat and domesticate it.
But they're not wild animals.
Yeah, right. So they're not anymore, and that's what I think. But they think that there's this vegan philosopher, I guess, called Gary Francione, and he thinks that pets should be kind of I don't know what they're called, like rewilding of animals.
Like reversing the effects.
Yeah, so I don't believe in that personally. But there is this view that it's wrong to have an animal as a pet. I don't really know why. I guess it's also this idea of a possession of an animal, which we don't believe in. So that's why I don't believe in purchasing, a cat for like a few £100 on the internet or something, because that's kind of like it's an object. Whereas adoption, to me, it's more like you're gaining a family member.
Don't you pay for adoption?
No.
You don't?
You pay for so I volunteer for the Cats Protection, and there is a £70 adoption fee, but that pays for all their vaccinations and flea treatment and things like that. So the charity doesn't make anything from that. It makes money from donations, but so that's more just to ensure that the cat actually has its vaccinations, so it doesn't make other animals ill. It's very different to selling an animal on Gumtree for £50 or something.
And also breeding is terrible.
Yeah, so I don't support breeding at all, even though I end up with a lot of cats and kittens.
So how you live your life is very, almost no animal products, no association with that kind of...
The idea of being vegan isn't about being 100%. It's, I try. Okay. I would say I aim for 99.9%, but it's impossible.
Okay, some realistic aims.
Yeah, because, people might be like 95%. My phone has probably got some kind of animal product.
Yeah, £5 notes, right?
Yeah, £5 notes. So they have tallow, which is like an animal fat, and things like that, and, concrete or tarmac has got animal products in it. I'm not going to say that I'm walking the road, but it's basically the idea is that you do as much as possible to reduce animal suffering and exploitation.
And when you're sitting in a room with people who've eaten meat today, eggs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're not sort of.
Sickened.
No. That kind of reaction. You said before that you only have vegan friends? Or
no, I only have vegan friends. I don't have many friends as it is. It just so happens, I have a vegan. No, I have friends who eat meat. I'm just saying that I do tend to really surround myself in this idea of a vegan community. No, like my mum's a vegetarian, so there's animal products in my house. Dairy and, well, not really eggs, she doesn't eat eggs, but...
What is your reaction to
how do you
eaters?
I don't like, recoil in disgust or anything at the idea of being in the room with you. It's more like, okay, you do your thing. Sometimes when I'm with a group of people, like this morning, I was at a meeting and they were talking about chicken nuggets, and I just kind of sat there a bit awkwardly, because it can be a bit awkward for me, and they were laughing and, talking about their
laughing about chicken nuggets.
I don't really understand because we're doing a fundraising thing where we live off £1 a day. It's like the living below the poverty line thing. They're like, I'm gonna steal chicken nuggets off my friends or something. And then the girl was like, oh sorry, to me, like as if I was about to be like, how dare you! You're an animal abuser. I'm not. It's not really like that.
Okay.
kind of,
Have you heard about the place in London where they make fake
oh yeah,
chicken nuggets?
I've had it
Have you-
actually.
oh,
I
is
had
it
it at Veg Fest. It's very salty, but yeah, it's very accurate. Definitely, it's like KFC.
But you don't deny that people like vegans like that exist. You know, who
I think when I'm, I'm going to be really honest and probably everyone will hate vegans at the end of this, but I think sometimes when I'm with my vegan friends and they'll be like, oh, that person's eating something, I can smell the, I can smell pizza, can't you smell that? Oh, isn't it disgusting? But we're not looking at the, we're not looking at the person, being like, that person's disgusting, but I do find animal products a bit, gross, to be honest. I don't think the person's gross, so don't worry.
It doesn't come in a way.
No,
it's
no.
social kind of.
No, like one of my best friends is an unapologetic meat eater, and it's fine.
What is the distinction between environmentalism and veganism?
In general, environmentalism?
Yeah, like how are those two movements connected?
Yeah, so I think a lot of vegans are environmental vegans. So one of my housemates, she watched Cowspiracy. If you've heard of the documentary, everyone's seen it. Oh my god, I've seen it about 5 times. No, you should watch it. It's on Netflix, but I'm a bit bored of it now, so I've had to watch it. She is very much an environmental vegan. But I know, I was at the Sustainability Society the other day, and they were like environmentalists, and most of them aren't vegan, vegetarian. We maybe look down at environmentalists, I think, who aren't vegan. I was at the the UN, I can't remember what it's called now, the summit in Paris, if you remember last year.
Paris climate change?
Yeah, the climate change talk. I was there in Paris at like a protest, and I was just looking around the room in this huge hall, and I was thinking how many people here are actually vegan, if you care about environmentalism so much. But I think the two should be related. I think if you really believe in environmentalism and you want to do as much as you can for the planet, the first thing you can do is to change your diet. But unfortunately, I don't think there is enough of a crossover between the two ideologies.
Just a distinction between the ideological veganism, or veganism as an ideology, as a lifestyle, because you introduced as a lifestyle.
Yeah, so
what's the point of being a lifestyle kind of veganism?
Well, I see it as an ideology.
Where there is
because there's obviously gonna be vegans who don't much care about the movement itself. Well, you do.
I do personally. Like I would call myself like a.
So that's where I draw the distinction between ideological veganism and lifestyle veganism.
Yeah. So one of my friends, she has a vegan diet, but other than that, she's not like me. She doesn't hang out with loads of vegans. She doesn't talk about it all day like I do. She's not really interested in the ideological side of it, because really, it's your own personal lifestyle. But I think we've created it into this larger ideological movement. But the two don't have to go hand in hand, and in many cases they don't. So you see it as an ideology because I see it as a political ideology. Yeah.
Because in order to achieve the goals that you need, you have to affect the structure significantly.
Yeah. But some vegans, they don't. They're vegan in themselves, but they don't care if other people.
Yeah, that's why
they don't concern themselves really with making a change, or and it's not a bad thing, because they're at the end of the day our diets and lifestyles are having the exact same effect on the planet.
Yeah.
But there is this vegan outreach ideology, which is kind of evangelical in a way.
That's how I imagine right-wingers allowing themselves to be vegans.
Yeah.
Because it obviously doesn't. If they would be ideological vegans, that contradicts their political beliefs. So they separate the two.
How so?
Well, they separate veganism into lifestyle and ideological one. So they do not agree with your movement itself. They just enjoy the lifestyle, or
some people see it as a very personal thing, and some people see it as a movement. And I definitely see it as a movement. And so you're saying, a conservative person would be contradicting themselves to be
Yeah.
part of the political
Yeah.
vegan ideology. In a way, I think yes, because there are some. I don't know. It depends. What do you think?
Well, it's just that veganism as a political movement affects it by necessity. It impedes economic freedom of industries, the market, regulation, and stuff like that, which is a left-wing ideology. So that's how I see it. That right-wingers just separate the ideology from the lifestyle.
Possibly yes, but I think people, there are growing vegans I see on the various Facebook pages and internet groups, and I think yes, in a way, if we want this, mass vegan movement to save the planet or to save the animals, I think that does have more left-wing ideology behind it. Like you talk about the free market, and we want to
regulate it.
Yeah, so we do want to stop animal agriculture and farming and consumption because we think
on a global scale, it's not.
If I could click my fingers, yeah, of course I would.
Because if it was just localized, that wouldn't really be enough.
I think it would. Every animal you save makes a difference, but for an environmental impact, it needs to be larger than just a local scale, I think.
Because if you're just going to regulate it in one country, they're just going to outsource the pollution to countries who are tax havens, for example.
Yeah, perhaps, but I think you'd be surprised how a small population can make such a large difference. So there's like 500,000 vegans in the UK. But in 2016, sales of fresh meat were down by £328 million, fresh milk down by £54 million, and cheese down by £73 million in just 1 year. So I think, it'd be wrong to say, it doesn't make a difference, because people in America are still eating. Well, I think there's actually 16 million vegans or plant-based, so like meat-free eaters in America. So that's a large number, but
is that just the market exploiting the movement? Is that just ethical capitalism?
Is what the...
It's becoming like a trend, right?
Yeah.
You see a lot more vegan products.
Yeah.
We've all noticed it in our own lifetime that we're seeing more and more vegan options in supermarkets.
Yeah, definitely.
Restaurants.
My sister's been vegan for 6 years, and I've been vegan for 2 years, and I've seen a huge difference. It's been much easier for me.
Yeah.
Easy. It's a strange term, but
it's not sort of underground kind of. You have to go
my friend Lorna, she's been vegan for 16 years. She's like 35 or something.
Old school. Right?
Yeah, like back then, I was talking to someone else as well who's been vegan for about 25 years, and if you wanted soy milk, you had to go to an Asian market, and it apparently tasted like paint thinner, and it was just all the vegans in town were fighting over like a block of tofu. That's how she described it. But it's so much easier now. It's everywhere.
So there has been.
There's definitely progress. If you're asking me whether the market is exploiting,
but is that progress? That's what I'm saying. Because it's not really a change. It doesn't feel like a change in ideology. It just seems like a
of
trend.
the market. No, it's definitely. So if you look at a company like Alpro, who do the soy milk and the various so many milks. So where do they get them all from? I don't know. But they are owned by a dairy company. They're owned by Danone, the French company.
Yeah.
If you look at restaurants like McDonald's, they just released a vegan burger, and you're thinking, well, is that making a difference? Right?
Yeah,
Jesus,
exactly.
I do think that the market and companies exploit this whole vegan trend, as you called it. I hope it's not just a trend, but it definitely it is growing, and I can see that just in the last 2 years. This morning there's another plant-based milk company called RHUL, and they do like all the oat milks and all that crap, and I love it. And they made a post on Instagram. It's a very pro-dairy post, they were saying, oh, milk is like this natural wonder that's perfect for human consumption, and we've started a new range of full fat milk for you to, because it's just perfect for humans, and vegans are really pissed off about it. We were on Facebook saying, oh my god, I'm never buying Root Health milk again.
Yeah, so that is the issue, that it's not a change in the structure, in the ideology. It feels like just the market is just...
Yeah, because it's being... so a lot of like vegan food companies, they started off as, startups on their own, and then bought out by dairy companies. I can't remember which documentary it is, but this guy's at this vegan festival and he's walking around, he's like, this is owned by Unilever, this is owned by this place, this is owned by them, and it's, it's just like everyone, and it's just like no real vegan company anymore. And the way I see it is, if there was this, you click your fingers, vegan revolution, which is never going to happen, but let's just think about it. The rich and the elite and the business owners, they're going to be the same people, I think, right?
They what?
The people who own the companies now, animal product companies, they're going to be the same people that would own, if all the animal products of a supermarket were cleared, Tesco is still going to be Tesco, aren't they? They're still going to be owned by either the same companies or the same type of people. So
does that
I don't know
concern
if that's,
you? Does that concern you as a vegan?
So in a way, some vegans, there'll be a post about, the new Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So this is about the whole, like I was saying, kind of the vegan trend. We can't eat that because it's owned by Unilever. The Unilever test on animals. Oh, so this vegan ice cream isn't vegan. And then you think, okay, but Marmite's owned by Unilever. Does that mean I can't eat Marmite? Or can I not eat this? Can I not eat that? Can I not use this brand of cotton wool because it's owned by this company? And it just gets a bit much. And what I was saying, I think it doesn't concern me if I'm purchasing something from Tesco.
Yeah. Because the lifestyle of veganism doesn't really feed into the actual ideology at all. So you're not going to make any structural changes if everyone's lifestyle is...
No, if I'm just living my life in my kitchen making tofu, it doesn't make it doesn't make much of a difference.
It sort of just adds to the trend.
It makes a difference environmentally.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think it would... it's an issue of supply and demand, and veganism is growing. But I don't see any major change in structure, and I think that would have to come from the government.
That is the issue. Because if it's not a major change, if it's not a structural change, it's just a trend, and because it's a trend, it loses its integrity.
I don't think so. The thing is, like, more and more companies, even though they're dairy or meat companies, they introduce vegan options. And I think, like, a perfect example would be Shell. Shell is now, as the biggest oil company, is now investing in renewable energy because they, like Tesco and all the meat and dairy industries would want to be part of the future. It's in their interest to just like...
Yeah, but that's just neoliberalism. That's just they are trying to appeal to the demographic by keeping up appearances.
But this is where lifestyle choices influence ideology, I feel like, ultimately, don't you think so?
So will it have a structural change in the future?
Yes. I feel like the fact that more and more people are going vegan, more and more vegan companies and even conglomerates that used to be dairy, they're going to lose their dairy branches because it'll be more profitable to...
Do you really think that?
Yes.
Do you really think that it's going to be more profitable to have a vegan industry?
Imagine if more and more... This is where individual choice makes a big difference, I think. It's the more people go vegan, the more of market percentage they have, market demand they have, and it's basically of course it's basic economics, right?
To me it really seems like now that it's just more accessible, there's just going to be a part of a population that will go vegan.
Yeah, I think
it's not going to keep expanding.
There's a plateau there because the meat industry is so powerful. I mean,
and the way I see it is that like this whole subset of vegan industry that is bought off by dairy companies and meat industries It's just profits for the dairy companies and the meat industries.
But they're not gonna keep those profits to like sustain their meat and dairy things.
Yeah, well, you expect somehow the entire population to change into veganism.
Well, this is where individual comes in. Like,
well, you cannot expect that.
I don't expect it in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, the whole world's population to be vegan, but I don't think.
I don't expect it in a couple lifetimes.
No, of course. But also, I mean, due to climate change, who knows? Because of meat eaters' lifestyles, who knows how many lifetimes that they're going to be.
Mars will be vegan.
The world's answer to climate change was the Paris Accord, which was bastardization of environmentalism.
Yeah.
So how do you expect something like this to improve?
I guess it's a question of do you think it's too idealistic from the start to even kind of contemplate it as a
to contemplate everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's very
not everyone,
or
but
enough
like
to make
enough to make a
change.
change. Yeah.
I don't think that's entirely idealistic. I think that I don't think it's idealistic to expect the vegan movement to grow,
No.
and I don't think it's a trend in the sense that it's fashionable and that it's going to plateau or die down. I think it's a growing movement, and I think it will continue to be.
But there's obviously some people who do it out of fashion.
Yeah, some people do, but I never met someone like that. There seems to be a vegan stereotype, I think, about this hipster who, you know, sneaks bacon and no one's looking. But I guess I wouldn't know, but I haven't met anyone who I believe to be like that. And, you know, I think it's a real movement, and I think we are making change. I think in order to have real structural change, it will come from above, and whether or not that's ever going to happen is a very different question. But I think the consumer choice, it does make a difference. Yeah. We're not solving all the world's problems, but you know, the way I see it, I don't really come from an environmental position.
Yeah, come from an
animal rights position. So it's not, you know, it's a really key concern to me, but it's not. It's not all I think about.
I think
in that case, we should talk about.
I think that's a good segue, because I guess it's not your main reason for being vegan isn't to change ideological structures. It is that you believe.
It's also so you know, it's not just I'm not vegan to be part of this ideological movement to grow and save the planet. Well, obviously I'd like that, but I live a vegan lifestyle because I believe in animal rights.
Right.
I want to ask you: is it? You said that it's not to be part of the movement. You said it's a personal choice because you care about animal rights. I just wanted to ask you, and no offense.
Yeah.
Is it like a weird sense of moral purity?
No, I think that. Well, you'll come to see when I start talking about animal rights and speciesism that I see. You know, equality with all animals is like a moral baseline.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not me saying I'm better than you. It's saying that I believe that eating animals and animal products and exploiting them for entertainment and so on is immoral.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not this amazing self-righteous great guy. But I think I'm doing. They say, you know, one of our common mantras is, you know, veganism isn't extreme. It's the least you can do. Which
We talk badly about meat eaters behind their back.
No, not always.
Not always, just occasionally.
That's the thing, we don't talk badly about meat eaters, but we don't agree with eating meat, right?
Of course.
It's the act, it's not the...
It's good to address that, because there's this stereotype of vegans being self-righteous assholes.
I know. And when I was vegetarian and my sister went vegan, I thought she was so annoying. And I thought it was so extreme. And I was like, but I'm vegetarian, I don't eat animals, so I'm still like saving lives. And I just thought she was like really extreme, and I would never do it. You know, every vegan in their life has said, "I will never go vegan."
Did she ever say, "I told you so"? Did that kind of come in?
No, she's like, "I'm so proud of you."
That's nice.
That was nice.
Veganism, in a sense, is activism, and that's why it's so like strong. When you go vegan, when you started watching those documentaries about how that happens,
I've got to tell the world.
Exactly.
I was in my seminars. I study history, and I was telling my seminar teacher Chris Hobbs all about the animal agriculture. He was like, "Eleanor, why are you talking about this? We're learning about this." And I was like, "I don't know. I just can't stop talking about it." So I think in the beginning you can make some mistakes,
It's the emotional nature of seeing
because you're just like, oh my god,
being destroyed.
I've just learned my new lifestyle, and it's a big change, and it's exciting. I love learning about it.
So it's like an identity change.
It doesn't have to be.
No.
Like I said, my friend, she's vegan, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not like me in the way I am. I see veganism as part of my identity, but it's not necessarily part of what veganism is.
Yeah. But getting back to the moral questions of it.
Yeah.
So the animal rights kind of aspect of veganism is that what do you like? Where do you stand on animal moral, treating animals?
Right.
With,
so one of the main
moral relevance.
Yeah. So one of the main arguments in veganism, the real philosophical divide, and between veganism and vegetarians as well, is the difference between animal rights and animal welfare. So animal rights, if you believe in animal rights, you believe that it is morally wrong to exploit animals in any way. And if you support welfare, you say, we can exploit animals, but it has to be humane. They can't suffer, they can't be in pain, and we have to treat them in a humane way, right? So that's the main difference. So I'd say a good case study for that, just for us to think about it, is this is a good quote I like. Animal rights advocates are campaigning for no cages, while animal welfareists are campaigning for bigger cages. Okay, so that leads on to the case study of eating eggs. I was told just today at the meeting I had earlier when they were talking about chicken nuggets that free range eggs are okay, aren't they? And I said, well, first of all, what is a free range egg? What is a free range chicken? Is it a chicken who's treated humanely and has this really lovely life, pops out a couple of eggs every day, and you just take it away from them, they just live happily? It's not, and that's definitely what you're led to believe by the marketing of these, happy egg company and so on. But the reality is that these chickens, their beaks are trimmed, they're burnt off or cut off, which is very painful to them, to stop them pecking each other. Because even though they're still free range, they're kept in cramped conditions, and that obviously leads to fighting between the birds. It's like, so instead of them, you imagine them in this lovely field with a few chickens dotted around a field, but the idea of being cage-free actually is basically like a giant warehouse, right? So a warehouse can contain 16,000 hens, and it's the equivalent, apparently, to 14 adults living in a one-room flat. So you can imagine that's, probably get...
But what is your moral basis on that?
So the idea is that a welfareist would say, well, it's better to eat a free-range egg than a caged chicken egg. Whereas I would say it's wrong to exploit an animal for their products, no matter how well they're kept, right? Okay. You can treat them like a princess. It doesn't matter because, the moral baseline...
You say that?
Yeah, so I believe that...
And most vegans with you as well.
Yeah, because it's... But, some vegans will campaign for, they'll sign the petitions on Facebook and everything for cage-free eggs, it makes such a difference. But I don't think I would, actually, because it's... that's a welfareist argument, and
I just want to know what the moral basis is for that. Like, where do you come from?
So, is it right? Do you have the right to take a chicken's egg away from her?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I'm asking you.
Why do you think you can do that? Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bounce off.
Yeah, so I don't believe... Well, first of all, I don't really believe that eggs are part of a human's diet, but I also don't believe
that's relevant.
Well, why should we? That is my argument. I know you want me to come out with something why we shouldn't. The idea, the whole thing is that it's exploitation. It's taking away an animal's egg, which is like an animal's, ovulation period. It's non-consensual. and it's.
But you cannot.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't consent. You can't consent. That's the idea.
And it's not that you can put moral standards on animals the same way you put moral standards on humans.
So you're saying.
Just the thing I want to address is that like I am afraid that this whole idea of animal rights is a slippery slope to pro-life abortion, pro-life politics.
Yeah, we actually talked about that once when we had a debate with Gary Francione. This is my friend Sada who brought up that issue. But if you have an abortion, if I were to have one, that would be my personal choice. Whereas the chicken...
But is it the child's personal choice?
Oh, well, it depends what you see as a sentient being in a womb, I suppose. That's like your own decision, but I don't think the same. You know, these eggs aren't fertilised necessarily. Some are, somehow. I don't really know how. But you know, the eggs you eat, they haven't been fertilised by a cockerel, so it is a different argument, really. It's more, I mean, I don't really like using this, but you know, vegans say that eating a hen's egg is like eating a woman's period, right? Because if I wasn't impregnated in one cycle, then if I were to have eggs, you know, that's my period, right? So I don't like using that.
Is it really the same standard?
Yeah. Because fruit, I mean, is biologically
fruits are genitals.
Yeah.
The ovum of the the ovum is like the apple seed, where
I don't think
there's the
possible
analogous.
Are we going into the plants have feelings?
Well, no, just in terms of like
because that's very problematic.
No, not in terms of trees, but if someone were to say that they were the same.
Okay, but trees aren't sentient beings, and hens are.
But they're reactive to their environment in the same way chickens have. I mean, chickens don't have reflective.
They don't reflect on their experience. They just react towards their environment.
Does it come to a question of consciousness, or just the fact that they're animals?
So do you believe that hens aren't conscious sentient beings?
I don't.
You don't think they are?
No.
Okay.
I do believe that dolphins are.
Yeah. Okay, right.
So you believe in quality.
So you're asking, are animals sentient? And if they're not, then why does it matter if we're exploiting them?
But are we exploiting them if they cannot reflect upon their experience?
Well, it has been declared by, in 2012, the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. It publicly proclaimed by top neuroscientists that non-human animals, including all mammals and birds, are conscious and sentient.
So how do they interpret that?
How they interpret?
What do you mean?
Well, what do you mean? What do they mean by consciousness?
So it says here that non-human animals have the neuroanatomical, neurochemical, and neurophysiological substrates of conscious states, along with the capacity to exhibit intentional behaviours. Consequently, the weight of evidence indicates that humans are not unique in possessing the neurological substrates that generate consciousness. Non-human animals, including all mammals and birds, and many other creatures, including octopuses and dolphins, I'm sure, also possess these neurological substrates.
But does that give them the capacity to think, to reflect on their experience?
Do you just feel this about chickens, or do you think this about all non-human animals?
Not all.
I think
I have exceptions.
I think
which I would never eat. Or kill,
so that's
or inflict pain on.
So it's a standard of what is right.
That's a brilliant segue into speciesism.
Okay.
Sure,
one break.
Yeah.
Take like 3 seconds after she finishes talking, because you just feel like she's getting interrupted all the time by your.
Okay.
No, like I just feel bad for you because I wouldn't want to feel attacked all the time. You know?
That's okay. Okay. So what is speciesism? So it's the practice of treating members of one species as morally more important than members of other species, and that this practice is justified. So this is the idea, basically, that humans are superior to non-human animals. So you are definitely a speciesist, apparently.
Yeah.
So this idea, an anti-speciesist, I don't know if you've probably learned about him. You're a philosophy student, right? Peter Singer?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, you probably did him in
like
freshers, right? And my friend, she does sociology and anthropology, and she studied him in like her first week at Manchester.
My favourite.
He's the most inconsistent.
Yeah, I'm sure he is, but you know, I support this anti-speciesist view that I suppose Singer supports as well. So it's the decisions that we make as humans that affect others, right? So that's what he talks about, and this should also apply to non-human animals. So our decisions to eat meat, to wear leather, to eat honey or whatever, this has you know, an impact on those animals, and this is morally wrong. This has a negative impact on them, and there's no reason to suggest that humans are technically superior. I mean, obviously we have different capabilities to most non-human animals, but does that matter? You know.
Well, first of all, Peter Singer also advocates for infanticide.
Okay.
We don't have a point. Just a little irrelevant.
So anyway, everyone has
their views on him.
Yeah. So, but you know, let's just look at this view in particular. So you know, if you think about the imbalance of humans and non-human animals due to, you know, perhaps intelligence levels, but they say that you know, you could say a human is more intelligent than a pig. Mm-hmm. That's true. But apparently pigs have the same intelligence level as a 3-year-old child.
I don't base it on intelligence though.
No.
I'm like, if I did, then I wouldn't. I wouldn't make an exception for dolphins.
Yeah. So do you base it on the capability to feel pain and suffering?
Not feel pain, reflect on it.
Okay. So if you saw an animal that was in pain, you're thinking that it's not in their consciousness.
Yeah.
You just think they're reacting.
They're just reacting towards the environment.
But it's been proven that non-human animals are sentient and conscious.
But do they reflect on their pain, or do they just react towards the environment?
Well, if you have an abused dog or a cat, I think you could just say it's a learned behaviour, but yeah, I think they feel pain and they understand, you know, where this pain has come from, who's done it to them, and you know, they don't understand why it's happened. But there was an experiment with mice, and you might have heard about it. There's like a box, and half the box is dark, and it might have been rats actually. I think it was mice. And mice are nocturnal, right? So they naturally go to the dark side of the box. But when they're in the dark side, they get electrocuted, and so from then on they live in the light side of the box. So they reflect. They don't just stay there. If you were in this room,
but you just proved my argument, because they adapt towards.
But they have given.
They adapt towards external stimulus, and they react toward like that.
Yeah, but
they don't reflect on pain.
But this is irrelevant. Like the reflection thing, I feel like is not relevant. Maybe I'm just looking very simplistically. Like meditation, for example, is the state of being present, right? And if you're imagine if a pig is basically in a meditative state where it just reflects on whatever doesn't reflect, but just experiences what it happens to it. Like no animal, no human would like to experience pain at this time, and like under no condition. I feel like you could justify anybody wanting to be in pain, and that might be the best argument against. Because if reflection is like what, like they don't get traumatized and don't have flashbacks.
This is just how I define consciousness.
Is it so you can sleep at night after you eat animal products?
Yeah. At the same time,
so you're telling yourself that pigs don't have consciousness, even though it's been proven by science.
If you gave me enough evidence about pigs having the intelligence of a toddler, I would stop eating pigs.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
But also,
that's, you know, to me, that is immoral. And I'm not saying I'm better than you, but I do view consuming an animal's flesh as immoral, because I believe that, and it's been proven, that pigs are conscious, sentient, and you know, people have pigs as pets, and they play, and they cuddle, and they have their favourite bed, and like dogs, and they're more intelligent than dogs. And I agree. I don't like using intelligence as this baseline for the argument, because someone in a coma or someone who's really brain damaged or something like that, they won't have the same.
Those are exceptions.
Capability. Yeah, it is an exception, but they don't have the same capability of a fully able, awake, conscious human. But it doesn't mean that their lives are less valuable.
Okay.
Would it be right to say that you're sort of taking concern like the psyche of humanity in terms of if they're mass killing other like flesh, like you say, and putting it to one side and accepting that kind of slaughter of other animals as something that's we can justify it, it's okay? Does that reflect poorly on our own sort of how we sort of conceptualize pain, or how we see other human suffering? If we're okay with killing animals because they haven't got this conscious reflective state, we're still murdering an animal. We're still murdering, taking life from something.
Yeah.
And that has sort of, for me, that I think pushing that to one side and saying it happens somewhere else doesn't really concern me, because I don't think most people who eat meat would go ahead and kill an animal.
No, probably.
And that's perhaps the problem. I think Pia Singer would probably agree with that as well. It's like why you don't help people from a different country. If there's someone in front of you, you'd help them.
Yeah.
If there was an animal and you wanted to eat a burger, you wouldn't go and kill a cow.
Yeah.
That's the argument, I guess, in a nutshell.
But is that fighting for animal rights, or is just fighting against aesthetic repugnancy? It's just being disgusted by the pain, by the suffering of animals. It's just making you feel better.
Well, not yourself, but just on a society level, if we're just sort of going and sort of funding this sort of poor treatment of animals and considering it's okay because we're just producing them, they're being born to be slaughtered, so it's fine. Which I think is one of your arguments for killing chickens, is that they're being bred to be slaughtered.
Yes.
Which is okay.
But I just disclaim, I don't advocate for their suffering. I'm just saying that it's unrealistic to change that because it's so efficient for the industry.
But their existence is suffering. Their existence is to die.
And it would be more efficient for the industry to actually grow like vegetables instead of using all the fields for breeding chicken. In the Cowspiracy,
in Cowspiracy it talks about the deforestation of the rainforests, particularly the Amazon, which is I believe it's 70% of that deforestation is used as land to grow soybeans and maize as well, I think, corn. But the majority of that, I believe 80%. And all the statistics from the website, they're all cited on the Cowspiracy website. But I believe 80% of those soybeans and crops go towards feeding mostly cows and pigs in America, right? And the idea is that you could use this to feed humans that are in poverty.
One of the questions, also the water consumption, right? How it's the amount of water you need to raise keep.
Yeah, so I've got that here. So in California, 5.2 million cows are raised for beef, which is 2.5 billion pounds of beef in weight every year. And that means that California uses 4 trillion gallons of water alone just for that industry of producing beef. California, as you probably know, is always in drought.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
And they have a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
But don't you need irrigation for plants too? Or do cows need more?
Yeah, but you need a lot more because to produce that grain that they're eating. So they say, I believe it's to eat 1 pound of beef is 2,500 gallons of water that's gone into this production of their food and water as well.
Okay.
So it's not just it's indirect as well. So it's going towards the crops that they eat. And cows naturally don't eat soy. They're supposed to eat grass, but they're obviously fed that to be more efficient, like you say.
Yeah. One of my questions was about what about when we consider water consumption, right? But for a vegan diet, what would be like nutritional equivalent in vegetables? How much would that cost? How much water would that use? That's my interest.
So you're saying how much water do I consume compared to
for example,
diet?
For what 1 kilo of meat gives you nutrition wise?
Yeah.
How much water would you need?
I don't know exactly in terms of water, but I know there's the picture that gets posted on the internet a lot about land and how much land it takes to grow the soybeans, or the land that's used to rear cows. And it's this huge square, and then it's like compared to this very tiny little square of how you could live on a vegan diet or a plant-based diet for a year or something. So I know it's a lot less water and land. So you might think, oh, you have to eat all these vegetables, so you need all the land to grow the vegetables on, but it's a lot less than what they use to feed cows. Cows weigh like a ton, so they eat a lot. So it's a lot more environmentally friendly and efficient to eat a vegan diet or plant-based diet.
It's not very profitable.
I just have one.
Is that all you care about?
No, it's not that I care about it. It's just
that's the other argument.
It's just the obstacles against your movement. It's
but,
not profitable.
But, I have to say that I don't really. You can say these arguments, but I find it difficult to empathise or care about the markets and the efficiency and consumer choice, because at the end of the day, what I believe in is anti-speciesism and animal rights.
I'm not telling you as like a counter argument towards. I'm just saying that it's a big obstacle.
Yeah.
Towards like actually.
But it's an obstacle not just to veganism, to all manner of kind of regulation.
Yeah, but we're talking about veganism.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you could tie. You're sort of stepping away from veganism into sort of the political movements that are trying to solve. Regulation.
So I'm not using it as a counter argument. I'm just.
So you're not trying to justify.
I'm not trying to justify. I'm just trying to tell you that it's an obstacle towards having a constructual change.
Yeah,
it's bringing a struggle to you, I guess. I mean, it happens with everything.
Yeah.
So, but my question, I mean, I was just bouncing off what you said before, because I just want to clarify for limiting. Obviously, you want to kind of get rid of all meat production. Are you? I mean, there is an argument that is the reason that they are still alive today, right?
Right. That
there's the idea that they would be extinct if we didn't want to eat them so badly and we wouldn't breed them to the excesses that we do. That wouldn't bother you?
I think that's better than suffering.
Okay.
One of the misconceptions I wrote down, just very briefly, as kind of a little joke, is that people say, oh, but if everyone went vegan, then cows would just be like roaming the streets.
Or would be
or just be, mass executed. And, just all at once, and then just not eaten.
But isn't that welfare instead of rights?
Sorry, what is?
Well, you said that it would be better than suffering to have them go extinct.
By natural causes.
By natural causes.
So, what do I think?
You said that you're more...
Well, no, I'm saying I don't believe that the suffering of farmed animals, like cows or whatever, should continue.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really welfare for me to say I would rather. I mean, it's not going to happen. There's not going to be this...
But if that happened and they go extinct?
I don't think they would go extinct, because if they were free animals... I mean, look at horses, horses are farmed in some countries, but...
They have a use for horses, though.
Yeah, so...
We would seem to have a use for cows, really.
Yeah, that's true, but horses also roam wild, and I don't know if... Yes, the argument is that, well, we are breeding them, and so you act as if, not you, but they act as if they're doing them a favour or something to forcibly impregnate cows so they give birth and reproduce the cow population. But, that is wrong to do to cows, because it's exploitation and rape and forcible impregnation. And yeah, I am saying that's... I think it's probably worse than...
dying. Going extinct.
What would you rather?
They cannot adapt to nature anymore.
Well, we destroy them.
Why do you know that?
Huh?
we distorted their nature.
Yeah.
We made them like
they're incapable of adapting. They're incapable of surviving.
They become dependent on us.
Yes.
Yeah. But so have cats to an extent.
Yeah.
Dogs and many animals. But
you envision that to be kind of a more positive.
Well, you know, I just think about myself. Would I rather be tortured and raped or just killed? And not let that suffering go on. I mean, when you look at it like that, it does make it a simple argument. I'm not saying that I want every cow on Earth to be killed right this second. But if that's going to happen, then maybe, it is better than what's happening at the moment. It must be.
Yeah. But then I guess the problem lies that we're now sort of our mass development is now sort of destroying natural habitats and killing. I mean, it doesn't go straight to veganism, but it doesn't sort of. You're an environmentalist, and I guess you want to conserve the environment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are developing a rate where that seems to be almost impossible.
For humans or for
like the way we go into different. I mean, the way we exploit the environment in general, and the extinction rate of animals is rising. As a vegan, is that something that you fight against as well?
Oh yeah, of course. Okay. So if you're talking about maybe Arctic animals or something like that, or the British wildlife itself, obviously that's something that I would fight. To stop the extinction of animals. It's not necessarily. I suppose it's part of a vegan lifestyle. But it's not. I think in the ideological movement that we've been talking about, most vegans concern themselves with farmed animals. But in a way, I suppose that's quite speciesist. So we do, there's the argument of palm oil, which that's such a vegan argument. Should you eat palm oil because it kills orangutans, right? But if you because of deforestation. So.
And also coconuts sometimes farmed by monkeys, right?
Yeah, farmed by monkeys. But also, if you're going to eat what's called rapeseed oil, which is in like, I don't know what it is. I think it's from like a wheat.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, so it's wheat fields. Well, farming that kills the British dormouse or whatever. It's not some type of British mouse. So we have to make decisions based on our diets, and I think it's quite speciesist to say palm oil isn't vegan because it kills orangutans, but actually it's more of a decision we have to make of practicality. And I know I've kind of gone away from the question you just asked me, but that just popped into my mind. But it is, we are concerned with extinction of animals, if that was the question. Because we basically see humans as having this really negative impact on all other species on Earth, and we want to stop that and just let all other non-human animal life thrive. So that comes into the environmental and conservationist side of it as well. What you were just saying, if that's what you want to do.
Sorry, you said that you just compared a cow being raped with yourself, and it's just, I'm like, why? No.
Yeah.
Well,
why?
Make sense at all.
Why not?
Because it's just so different.
I don't even want to get you started on the idea of vegan feminism. I feel like your head would explode.
Vegan feminism?
Yeah, that's an ideology. Yes, it's the idea of it's equality for sexes of all species.
What?
Yeah, so if you think about, let's look at cows then. So cows are inseminated. We don't say the word rape because that obviously triggers you in a way. A farmer
triggers me.
Well,
yes. I don't think it triggers that.
You or
it does.
No, it's.
Well, if I just said rape and then you roll your eyes. And
it triggers me when you compare yourself with a cow.
Why? Okay, but let me talk about this idea of vegan feminism. It's not something that I'm not like an expert on. First time I had it, bloody hell, it's extreme. But I'd only been vegan for about a week. So a cow is inseminated by a farmer to get pregnant. So he gets his syringe of bull sperm and puts his fist and arm inside of a cow's vagina and injects it. So she's obviously, so the egg is fertilised. I mean, first of all, if you think that that's okay to do, then that's just disgusting, right? Surely. People call that rape. You might not call that rape, but I think vegan feminists would.
That's caused because
are they vegan feminists as in they're feminists for animals or feminists just in general?
Yeah, it's its own.
It's its own
belief, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, female emancipation for animals.
Yeah, so it's not. I'm not saying I'm a vegan and I'm a feminist. It's more of like because not every vegan would be saying what I'm saying right now. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the off branches, I suppose.
But that's caused more of for like efficiency's sake.
Yeah.
So it's a problem again of capitalism.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem of capitalism, and the reducing an animal down to its economic value rather than its moral value.
But so are humans.
Yeah. But okay, so back to the cow. So if it gives birth to a female calf, then this calf, is raised not by its mother, doesn't get to drink its mother's milk because that's what consumers, take away, and it lives the same life as its mother basically. If it's born a male, it's killed at a few months old for veal because it has no economic value to live its whole life, right?
Yeah.
But it does have an economic value to eat as a baby because people pay a lot of money for veal. Yes, it's efficient because you wouldn't want loads of bulls just roaming around. What are you going to do with them? Yeah, you could, if you were like an independent farmer, maybe you would raise a bull and then eat its meat one day, but that's not really a common practice.
Or you would just let them,
impregnate.
Yeah.
So you would use one bull to impregnate your whole. I live next to a farm.
But most of the time they get sperm.
Yeah. So in industrial agriculture.
There's a guy who jerks out the bulls.
Yeah.
Actually gets semen.
Yeah, it's like the end of Moby Dick, it's like.
I worked on a cow farm and all that stuff was going on. It's pretty fun.
Did you do it?
Did you jerk off a bull?
No, but I had to put a veal into a truck.
Yeah.
I had to drag them because they don't want to go. It's pretty.
It's not as bad as jerking off a bull.
No, it's not as bad. But it was
for you.
It's something. I was very young. I was like 14 or something. It was good.
It's interesting that you just used the euphemism of veal to describe them.
Yeah, young cow. I actually didn't even know at the time that that's how we got veal.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, what are we doing?
But isn't it strange how you call a cow beef or a pig pork, and that's something that vegans are trying, the more radical ones like me perhaps, we try to not use those euphemisms. So that's why I say things like flesh, and that, maybe makes people think a bit more. Like, why don't I call it pork or...
Do people call pigs pork?
So to call their flesh pork is what I'm saying, yeah.
Oh, their flesh.
Yeah, but, Jakub just said he put a veal into a...
I guess that was more of a mistake.
Yeah, I know, but it's not. No, I'm not saying. No, I'm not having a go at you for it. It's a social norm that we. I used to say it.
Is it a norm?
People say.
I thought I was just making it.
I'll say, I don't eat pork. I'll say that right. I probably said that at the beginning of this.
Oh, you saying basically I don't eat
pigs.
So
this is. I'm just picking on it.
No, that's fair. It's fair.
So I should say I don't eat pig's flesh or something like that.
Okay.
That's just a little thing.
Pigs.
Yeah.
But vegan feminism, I still understand.
So it's the idea of equality for
female animals.
So why, for female male animals, so why are male calves killed as babies and female calves?
But how is it different from veganism in general? Isn't it?
Oh no, it's not. It's not different. So it's part of veganism.
Okay.
But it's just like.
So why is there a vegan feminism then?
It's just
because it seems to be almost exactly what veganism
is. It is veganism.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so it's just a feminist theory of.
Yeah, there is a fine feminist theory too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Considering veganism to be a culture, how do you propose to overcome sort of meat biases in certain cultures? So South America being incompatible with veganism.
Yeah. So is it right to say
to take away traditional foods and that sort of element from them?
Yeah. So if your traditional food, of any culture, is dominated by meat or animal products, personally, I'm not going to say, it's okay for you to eat, whatever, lamb if you're Jewish or something, I don't know, because I don't believe it's ever right kill and exploit an animal. So it is an argument that veganism is maybe elitist. They say that vegans are white, privileged, middle-class people because you can't be vegan if you're of this culture or something like that. I mean, there are vegans all over the world, and I think it's a personal choice whether you want to. But it's not. I don't like saying it's a personal choice to eat meat because it's not personal if it affects.
Cultural. It's obviously not a personal choice.
Yeah. So a cultural. But no, I'm saying it's not a personal choice to eat meat because it affects the lives of the animal you're eating. But if you want to make that if you're part of that culture and you want to continue, then I suppose that's up to you. But I don't think it's justifiable to say, I'm going to eat this because it's part of my culture. I was saying to my Jewish friend, this was years ago, and when I was vegetarian, and I said, you should be vegetarian. He's like, I can't, because, chicken soup. And I was like, fair enough, eat chicken soup if that's, I can't go up to you and say, Joel, don't eat that chicken soup. I wish I could. I wish I could stop animals.
You don't do that anyway, so.
No, exactly. So it's not just. I guess you could say British culture is somehow, our traditional foods.
But using the white middle class Western privilege argument impedes on the movement, on the vegan movement. I think it's a big weakness. Yeah,
it is, and.
It doesn't even make sense, that argument, but fine.
No, it doesn't. And I some cultures in Africa and Asia, Buddhism is, it believes in the practice of no harm to any sentient being, no suffering, and so Buddhists technically advocate for veganism, and the more devout Buddhists, I don't know if that's what you'd call it. They are vegans, right? So that's their culture. And
are they? Don't you use milk and dairy?
Yeah, so Buddhists in general, I guess it's like having your one view written down, and I think traditionally it was a vegan diet, but most Buddhists now do consume animal products as far as I'm aware. But in Buddhist countries, they sell, in Asia, of course, most of the people still consume dairy, and it's largely vegetarian.
Aren't Asians lactose intolerant?
Everybody is.
I think it's more in Africa and Asia than the West, because we've adapted to it.
Yeah, we still
because we've been farming cows for a lot longer, and at a wider scale. But yeah, most people are lactose intolerant in general, because of course we produce lactase as babies when we're drinking our mother's milk, and as you grow up and don't need that anymore because you're eating solid foods, your body stops producing the same amount of lactase, right? So because babies are fed dairy, they continue to produce it to digest animal proteins, but as you get older, more, the general. Well, some babies are lactose intolerant, but I think as you get older, you have less and less lactase in your body, which is why you might have been able to drink milk fine when you were a kid, but now maybe
Also, if you stop drinking milk for a certain period.
Yeah, so my friend Joe, he's been vegan for 3 years, and the other day he was in. Oh, he's gonna hate it when he listens back to this. He was in Costa and he ordered a soy whatever, and they gave him dairy milk instead, and he was ill all night. Like he said his skin was like burning. He felt and his mum had it as well. She's vegan, and they've both been vegan for 3 years. They couldn't sleep all night. They didn't know each other was ill. There was Joe was being sick, and they were just had migraines and stuff the next day. And they were never lactose intolerant before.
Yeah, the same thing with meat eating though, right? When you stop eating meat,
apparently if you eat it again, you vomit. I don't know, but doesn't that just show it's not?
Would you ever try that out?
No, why would I?
You want to try vomiting?
Yeah, let me just abandon all my beliefs and eat a burger for the day.
Some people have the same reaction with vegetables.
if you just don't like them, or cabbage, or if you're actually allergic.
If you just eat meat,
nobody's allergic to
vegetables. Yeah,
what are you saying?
Are there people allergic to vegetables?
Of course there are.
Well,
not all.
Not all vegetables.
I guess you can be allergic to it.
Yeah, that'd be really debilitating if you were.
I know a girl who used to only eat like pancakes and no vegetables, no meat. So that was also a thing.
That's fascinating, Carl.
And she's in hospital.
Oh, yeah. I didn't follow up with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's more malnourished than obviously, I mean, this is like the diet argument again, which I don't really.
Okay, let's go back to the activism.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about.
So I guess, do you want to talk about the internet, so how it's developed into sort of there are cultish overtones,
yes,
and how the internet's kind of changed or enhanced or hyped up back.
And also cultish hate of veganism. It's like people are so reactionary to it also.
Yeah, so I get that a lot. I'm like, veganism, that's like a cult, isn't it? I think people just like make that joke and then they're like, here's someone else there, and it becomes this whole thing.
We get philosophy out of sorts. Do we really exist? It's like a go-to.
Fuck off, right?
Yeah, so that's
kid.
So you understand what it's like, yeah. So I don't think it's a cult. I think there's a community on the internet. There are all these Facebook groups, and I don't know if you've been in any of them, Vegan UK Vegan, and What Fat Vegans Eat, and all of these different animal rights, liberationist bloggers and vloggers and God knows what else, and activists, right? And so there's this community, and it can be a bit toxic sometimes, because people upload a picture of what they've had for dinner. They say that's not vegan. This has got palm oil in it, and it's there's this whole debate, and it can be like people think it's a very like elitist club.
Competitive nature.
Yeah.
Who's more vegan?
Right. Yeah, it can be like that. Definitely activists, which I'm actually going to come into.
Really help to
yeah, I'm going to come into that in the activism bit. Being more vegan than someone else, and I think that can be really detrimental to the movement, because sometimes you see posts on these Facebook pages. I'm a vegetarian. I wanted to go vegan. Then I joined this Facebook group. And I've seen how horrible you all are, and now I'm not going to do it. And I think that's just such an excuse anyway. But it can be, I suppose, seen as a cult because of that. I think it's good to have a community, and it really helped me when I first went vegan, and I was trying to learn more about the lifestyle. I think the rise of the this internet sensation of veganism, it's pretty much, I would say, the key reason for this huge boom in people adopting vegan lifestyles. So that's great, but of course it can have its negative impact as well on the movement. This kind of idolising of certain leaders of the vegan movement. I've talked a lot before in my life, not today, about this guy called Gary Yourofsky, who's really famous in the vegan world. A lot of people watch his speech on YouTube, which I think is called The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear, and it's got millions of views. It's like an hour long. It's like a lecture. And people watch that, and he talks a lot about what we've been talking about today, about speciesism and animal rights and welfare. And people really see him as this god, right, of veganism. I think that's really
cultish.
Yeah, so that could be seen as cult, because if you're going to follow every word Gary Yourofsky says, as if you're like part of his following, that sounds cultish. But
to be fair to vegans, every ideology does that.
Yeah,
everyone
exactly.
thinks that Marx is God.
Yeah, right.
Not everyone.
No, I'm sure you don't. But
big distinction.
Yeah, but then so this guy Gary Yourofsky, he's come out with very racist and sexist and just offensive, posts on the internet and in his speeches, and I just think he's a pretty nasty guy. He's actually retired from activism for mental health reasons, but he still just make these awful arguments on Facebook sometimes, and on his website. One thing was about I think it was Serena Williams or Venus, I don't know, tennis, whoever's the more famous one. Serena Williams. Someone called her a gorilla because they were being racist against her, and he said, "Oh, that's not offensive. Gorillas are strong and powerful, and it's speciesist to say, oh, I should, speciesist to say you should be offended if you're black and you're being called a gorilla." Right. So that's so problematic. But that's just this individual guy.
I think that's what happens when you have when you put a person on a pedestal,
yeah,
then you just like take every detail in order to like judge him.
Yeah. But
also Vegan Gains, for example.
Oh yeah, Vegan Gains, and he's the mess, isn't he? Well, he's YouTube. He's got millions of subscribers, I think, and or views anyway, and he comes out with some really offensive stuff as well, like how he wants to kill children and babies, and he's like, when I see a baby, I just want to smash it in the face and things like that.
He also really hates fat people.
Yeah, he does. He just hates everyone, I think.
He changed recently. I heard he had he took mushrooms and he said he's no longer a misanthropist.
Yeah, he had like a spiritual experience with the shrooms or something.
That's a really odd character.
He's, so these, I think the problem with when people see veganism as a cult is because they see these people at Vegan Games and Gary Rossi and all these other people who are so popular because of the internet. And that's why I get this insult a lot. Oh, veganism, isn't that a cult? And I say, oh, if it was, I'm the president of the Vegan Society, I must be a leader of a cult. And they just laugh and I just end it, because I don't really want to get into it. So I think that is a problem with the internet. But the internet can also have, a brilliant impact on the movement.
Do you think people are becoming only just for the cultish behaviour? Do you think people become vegans for the moral? Do you ever find that?
No, because people hate vegans.
Okay.
Because you're not going to look at me and say, "Wow, this girl's really cool. I'm going to go vegan, so I'm going to be part of her club." Because people hate vegans.
It's kind of strange because, like, in order for a movement to be effective, there needs to be some kind of leadership. But in order to counteract the cultish stereotype, you need to decentralize it. So what do you do?
More vegan activists.
Yeah, so I think you have the vegan lifestyle we talked about, but with the vegan movement, I think there are these general. I guess activists, but also styles of activism, which is what I wanted to go on to. But first of all, I think, these people that can be seen as leaders, someone like Earthling Ed, who's a YouTuber, but he's made a documentary, and we're actually having him on campus, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who he is, but I shouldn't say that in case he listens sometime, but he's like made this...
You'll meet him one day.
Well, yeah, he's made this new vegan project. It's called it's a van, basically. He's got a van, and it's got he's touring around the country, going to different universities, and apparently a third of all universities in the UK have already signed up. I signed up last night.
In a van?
In a van, and he's showing, it's a big vegan activism van or something, and there's going to be a whole day, and there's going to be, people come up to him, talking, asking questions. There's going to be the virtual reality headset, I think, called iAnimal, or it might be a separate one, and I don't know, I saw free vegan pizza and I was like, email it. But I think there's also a screening of his documentary afterwards, and then a Q&A and a speech led by him. Okay. So something like that. So he could, I suppose, be seen as a leader, but he's also just an individual who's making a difference, like we all are, to, I think quite an important extent. He's not necessarily like the leader of veganism or the leader of a cult or anything like that, but I think to lead the movement we have these examples of people who do this kind of work, whether you believe in it or not, it's a different question in their style, but really when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be involved in the movement. So I think also the effects that you would have as a vegan person just on the lifestyle is of equal importance to someone who is active in the movement.
Can I ask? Mm-hmm. Does he drive an electric van?
Oh, probably. Well, he's vegan. He does so much to the environment as it is.
Checkmate atheists.
No, it's probably...
Checkmate atheists.
Checkmate atheists?
Never mind.
Oh, okay. No, it's probably a petrol van. I can't imagine it's diesel because it's new. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll ask him. How about you come along next term?
Okay, sure.
And
I'll ask him.
You can come to his van and you can come to his documentary.
Okay.
And
what are his methods? I mean, do you?
I don't really know the guy.
Yeah.
But
if you were to change someone's mind, would it be the morally trying to convince them that it's right, or do you do it ecologically?
I think everyone's different. If if someone's asking me and I know them,
basically the core veganism is the moral implications of killing.
It's either environmentalism or the moral.
I think that the three main strands are, we say, for the animals, the environment, for the health, or for the people, which is kind of the same.
On me, environmentalism is more effective.
So, so on you. So if I knew you, and I was just going to have a debate one-on-one with you,
I guess it is dependent on the person.
Yes, I definitely think so. But if you're trying to do like a global or national outreach, I suppose.
Health would be one big concern.
I think health would change a lot of people into trying it, but then that's a vegan diet or a plant-based diet rather than a lifestyle. Because if you're saying, oh, I'm not going to eat meat because of heart disease or cancer, well, that's not going to stop you from wearing leather or going to the zoo or buying an animal on the web on Gumtree. So that's not, you wouldn't be technically vegan because of that. And I think a lot of the people who go vegan or plant-based for health reasons only, they're the ones who quit after a few months or something.
Did you hear that, Carlos?
Yeah, Carlos, you didn't try hard enough.
Exhibit A, kind of.
But in general, I think if you want to really be vegan, you're vegan for the animals or the environment. I don't think health is necessary. I eat pizza like all day. It's not. It's not necessarily a health movement.
How do you eat?
There's vegan pizza. There's
the
so
vegan,
much.
The vegan drunk
Crisps are vegan, so you can just.
Yeah, exactly.
Crisps are vegan?
Come to Vegfest with us this Saturday.
Can I literally just eat crisps?
If you really want.
Yeah, but that's not a good example of vegan.
No.
the health really was that.
I'll get scurvy by this.
Probably. Scurvy for the animals. That's okay.
Scurvy for the animals. Hashtag.
That could be the hashtag of this brilliant podcast. But obviously, I'd rather people just say junk food than animal products. But you can also be very healthy. I know you want to ask about that later. On a plant-based vegan diet. What were we talking about?
Activism. So have you just started?
Oh yes, the reasons.
Yeah. Have you ever convinced anyone?
Converted.
My boyfriend, because he was vegetarian, I was like...
It was a condition?
I was like, you love me. You will go vegan. No, I think...
Wait, did you actually do that?
No, I was like, he wanted to go vegan anyway, so I was like, could you? No. But in general, I think... I don't do a lot of activism, because I spend a lot of my time... if I'm doing something for the animals, I actually will work with animals, cats, horses, whatever. But if I were to get more, my friend Joe, his dad Tony, great guy, he's a vegan activist, and he has his iAnimal virtual reality headsets, which is the slaughter footage, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And he does a lot of, he goes to stalls and has his vegan outreach stall and things like that. And I'm sure he has converted lots of people, and I think he gets messages through, because he's got a kind of a vegan Facebook page, oh, thank you Tony so much for helping me go vegan and things like that. And I think as a society, I think we've maybe helped, the Vegan Society here, I think we've helped people go vegan. We did our Veganuary campaign last year, which was going vegan for the month of January, and I think about 20 people partook in that. They're not all vegan now, but I think a couple. I think someone who comes now actually. I think she did it last year. So that's I don't know how much I've directly impacted someone's life, but but I'm not an expert in activism. There are different activist movements, and one of the reasons I don't get involved in them is because I don't believe in most of them, of the main ones, which is what I want to talk about now. And
is it the I'm more vegan than me?
Yeah, so that's part of it. So, so I guess I'll talk about that one first then. So there's something called the SAVE movement, and it's groups of people who bear witness to pigs, cows... You're going to hate this, oh my god. Bear witness to pigs, cows, chickens and other farmed animals en route to slaughter. Our goals, this is a quote from their website, our goals are to raise awareness about the plight of farmed animals, to help people become vegan, and to build a mass-based grassroots animal justice movement. I'll give it to them that it is grassroots, actually. But other than that, I think it's pretty stupid, my opinion. So the SAVE movement, people, maybe us lot, let's just say, They think that you're bad. We go to a slaughterhouse, and there are pigs in a truck, and they're about to go in, and we bear witness. So we don't do anything. It's not like a violent action or anything. So like a peaceful protest, I guess. And we bear witness to them before they're killed, just to say, I'm a human. I care about you. And I'm sorry this is happening to you.
Jesus.
Yeah, right. So
the hypocrisy.
Yeah, so this started. I don't know if you've heard of the Toronto pig save in 2010. This woman, she gave there was a pig in a truck outside a slaughterhouse, and she got her bottle of water, and she let the pig have some of her bottle of water, right?
It's beautiful.
Beautiful, right? So this woman got arrested and imprisoned, I believe. For I don't know, I think terrorism or something. I know Gary Rossi got arrested.
Terrorism?
Yeah, I think Gary Rossi got arrested for terrorism and he was banned from Canada.
Person ever
for breaking into a research facility or freeing animals and something. I don't know.
Canada?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so this woman, so that's where it all started. I think it started with the Toronto pig save. And since then, there's this growing movement, I'll take my camera and I'll take an Instagram shot. I don't know, I don't use Instagram, I don't know what people do. Take a selfie, yeah. For me, like, look at these sad animals behind me, and it's very narcissistic. And it's also not achieving anything. If anything, you're prolonging the suffering of these animals in the trucks. And people also, this isn't, I don't know if this is part of the Save movement. I suppose it is. The Stop Live Exports. So the idea that animals are farmed here and then taken abroad to a different country in Europe to be slaughtered because it's cheaper. So people, they'll go to the docks in Dover or whatever and try to stop these trucks from going, I don't know where, Spain I think, as a popular destination for them. But that really is not achieving anything other than they get arrested a lot of the time. They don't at the saves because it's more peaceful, I suppose. They're not trying to block any vehicles. But
if I would think within the parameters of vegan theory, I would say that this is like animal prostitution for the sake of moral, how do you call it? Just showing off how morally pure you are.
Superiority.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I agree on something.
What do you think about PETA?
PETA, oh god, nightmare.
Ooh,
yeah, they're terrible. They're welfarist. Most of the major charities are, like Animal Aid and who's the other one? Viva.
Welfarist.
Welfarist in the sense that
why do you think that? Well, that the major charities are welfarist? Is it because it's kind of it's like
of course,
compromising?
but so for example, I think it was PETA or Animal Aid or both gave an award to a slaughterhouse for being the most humane slaughterhouse in Britain or America or something. It's like, wow, well done, PETA. You're supposed to be advocating for animal rights. And I think PETA used to be a lot more overtly welfarist, and now I'm trying to pretend that really abolitionist. Oh, I didn't even use that word this whole time. I don't know how I got away with that. Abolitionism. That's the approach of animal rights. I hate PETA. They use really sexist adverts and women. There was this
These are racist too.
Yeah, I think I can't think of any racist off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there have been racist adverts. About women in bikinis and big billboards in America, and then there was this fat woman, and it was either the slogan was "Don't have a cow" or something about a whale, right?
What?
Just implying, so PETA are just horrid. They are racist as well. I wish I could remember. There was definitely something very racist on there.
I remember something about zebras and black people.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, but I can't exactly remember. Yeah,
PETA would do.
Yeah, but PETA are just awful, and also the demonstrations they have often, for some reason, involve naked women covered in blood and cellophane in the middle of a city to pretend to be pieces of meat in a package.
I wonder who makes that decision.
Yeah, probably the men that run it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go? I'd go.
There you go. That's a problem. So yeah, I hate most of these charities. And so this is why I don't do vegan activism, because who do I join? It's so narcissistic. It's just prolonging their stress, and the cameras that they use to take pictures of themselves is only for their own gain. I asked my friend Joe earlier, because I thought he'd know more about it, and I was like, what do they actually think they're trying to do? And he was like, I have no idea.
It sort of adds to the culture, like.
And it's also right. So this is why people do it, because they take pictures, they put it on Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a vegan activist," and that's better for some reason than being just a vegan who just lives their life and eats, plant-based diet.
Have you seen the video where a vegan, like psychopath vegan girl talking to PewDiePie, just claiming that he's a terrible vegan?
Yeah, what's her name? Zorsha. Is that her name? Zorsha Morava?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, she's like just very attention-seeking. She basically wants to be the next big vegan YouTuber after Freely the Banana Girl, who is this, also very,
oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Oh, I remember that one too.
Yeah, so this is the problem. This is why people hate us all, because they think we're like them. So Zorsha just basically wants views, and so she picked PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber there is. She insulted him, made literally no points in her whole video, and it's very detrimental to the vegan movement, because then all of PewDiePie's viewers are watching, his millions or whatever viewers are watching it and thinking, "Wow, vegans are really stupid," and she is stupid, and she's a narcissist.
Her argument was that he's not using his millions of subscribers to end animal slavery.
Or maybe that's because he's not vegan.
Yes.
It was
which
stupid.
makes him a terrible human being.
Apparently, yeah.
Even though he does charity work with.
Yeah, I just I can't detach myself enough from her, to be honest, or Freely.
Which is quite frustrating. You can't even get off the blocks without kind of having all this.
Yeah, because
hate sort of thrown at you for.
Yeah, definitely, and it's.
It's gonna be in every movement. Like the loudest people will always define the movement.
I suppose so.
So the worst people will.
So is that why you
for the perceptions of the movement,
Same goes with the left. Same goes
Yeah.
with the right. Same goes with any kind of movement.
Yeah, it's true. But I think that. So if we're talking about what is the right way, what is the best form of activism, well, we just listed a lot of the worst ones. I wanted to ask you all actually about the idea of animal slaughter footage. So we had Animal Equality as the charity, or the organisation, who started iAnimal, which is the virtual reality headset where you put on the VR experience, and you can look around and you're like in a farm, like a very industrial. It's actually a humane, illegal, one of the best ones you can be in apparently. The cramped conditions, and then the slaughter, and you see the it was a pig last night, which they've made a cow now. You see the pig being slaughtered, you see all the blood on the floor. It's a slit in the throat style execution, and but not just that. There are not just iAnimal. There's also the Earthlings experience. I don't know if you've heard of Earthlings. There's this documentary, feature-length documentary produced by Joaquin Phoenix, and
it's like quite new.
I think it's a few years old now. But yeah, it's one of it's basically an hour and a half or 2 hours of pure slaughter footage, with a voiceover, explaining vegan beliefs and animal rights, etc. I've only ever got through 20 minutes of it, so I can't really tell you much about it. But people, they put it on their laptops, and they go around London or a busy area, anywhere in the country really, or the world. I don't know if it's spread to other parts. You might be on the tube and you have your laptop playing this video of slaughter footage, and it's called the Earthlings experience, and they wear masks, and anyone passing by, I suppose, is not forced, but it's imposed on this footage. And what else is that?
So what do we think about that?
Yeah, and also, like I said at the beginning, it worked for me, obviously. The reason I went vegetarian and vegan was because I watched this kind of footage, and it's probably worked. It's probably, one of the reasons why most current vegans were exposed to, the inhumane practices in
So you're saying it's
animal
effective?
agriculture. I think it's been effective, but is it? What's your opinion? Is that right to do?
It's kind of pressuring people into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys? Go first.
Well, for me, it worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just nobody in their sane mind would watch something get slaughtered and just don't think.
It garners a real emotional response.
Yeah.
And you can surprise yourself with how. It's shock is essentially what they're going for.
Yeah.
And I definitely achieved I guess the problem that people have with it afterwards is not just convenience, but whether they really do take a moral stand on it.
Yeah.
Because a moral stand is quite a commitment. It's not just
an
instant.
And also people just scared of, right?
That is my issue, because there's a difference between real moral development that is caused by discussions, debate, and stuff like that, and just a repulsive reaction towards an event.
And I agree, and it's
on a psychoanalytical level. There's a huge difference.
Anyone can watch that and probably be disgusted or offended by it, but it's then like your decision whether you want to act or not. And you don't just watch it and instantly. Well, for me, it was easier because my sister was vegan. So, but if you've never heard the word vegan before in your life, and you don't even know. People still ask me, do you eat fish? And every day of my life. If you don't even know what it is, you're not going to watch that and instantly know everything about animal rights, everything about the abolitionist theory, and how to eat and how to live in a vegan lifestyle. And I just wonder, do you think it's like a good starting point?
I honestly think no. It should be discussion.
Yeah, I think I used to.
It's a dishonest way a little bit as well.
It is,
because it's not actually what you have a problem with.
It is, but like the problem I feel like is that there's no easy way into it, because it's quite a dedication to find out like vegan alternatives and all the arguments. And
I think
it
first takes you a little while to get into it, but
sorry,
it can take you a little while to get into it. When you first make that commitment.
But you're trying to represent the moral side.
Yeah.
Which when you use tactics like this, it's not. I don't know. It just kind of like breaks up the.
Do you think it's quite a welfarist?
A welfarist instead of right.
Yeah, do you think so? In a way, it's showing this footage and saying this is so bad because animals are being put in cages, electrocuted, and slaughtered, and their throats are being slit. And it's is it actually focusing on the way they're being treated?
Yeah.
Rather than wouldn't it be better to educate people? I think from a young age about not indoctrination or anything, but just saying an animal's sentient, conscious.
Just give them the options and let them think about it instead of just telling them. Well, if we improve their life standards, if they die peacefully, then, it's fine. We can compromise with a man.
With the man. The capitalist man.
Which
man, okay.
Which man?
The capitalist man. It's a unisex term.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
sorry I used that. Which is not what you fight for. You fight for animal rights, not animal welfare.
Do you think it's in a way... like a pornography of pain and suffering?
Yeah.
Because I was saying before about I study humanitarianism, and I've just been studying imperialism. These humanitarian groups, they would try to get people to end slavery, or even if after the abolition of slavery, very awful, inhumane treatment to humans, who basically treated as slaves, and they would take pictures of their starving bodies and their ribs showing, or their arms have been chopped off or something like that in these imperial societies in Africa and beyond, and send that home and say, donate to this cause or campaign to stop this because look at how they're being treated. But these same humanitarian organisations are pro-imperialist, and so wouldn't it be...
what do you mean pro-imperialist?
So they supported civilising missions and the paternalistic culture of imperialism. So they weren't like anti-imperialists as a group. They were just they were against the way that these people were being treated. So when I was studying that, and actually, surprisingly, the article that I was reading did compare it to the animal welfare movement, and I was like really shocked in the conclusion. I was like, wow, that's what I was thinking.
That is interesting.
Because it's like they're sending these pictures back home because it's making people think of how terrible they are being treated. But these same people aren't wanting to change it structurally into liberating the land or the society.
It's not socialism with the human face, it's capitalism with the human face. So they're trying to compromise basically about everything, and to make it seem like, we have civil rights, we have a certain degree of political freedom, but still we have the illusion of that.
Yeah, and there was also the civilizing missionaries.
Civilizing missionaries?
Missionaries, so like a Christian missionary trying to, So in Australia, for example, taking Aboriginal children away from their parents to give them like a Western education, teach them about Christianity. In America and Canada, changing their hairstyles and their names to give them Western names, things like that. So it's like a civilizing approach. But what was I saying? These people. Oh yes, they were saying, "Oh, look how awful we're treating these people. Doesn't that show our own moral decline?" So that was the concern. It wasn't that these people were suffering. It was that
our moral decline.
So the Westerners, the settlers, or the imperialists, right? It shows our own degradation rather than thinking this is fundamentally wrong and against the human rights. But then that just made me think about slaughter footage that's used by vegans. Not comparing, to slavery or anything, but just the technique used by humanitarian or animal rights activists.
So they're exploiting their suffering for the sake of...
Yeah, so I'm starting to think her now, and isn't it terrible that I just emailed Animal Equality and Earthling Ed to come and bring their experiences to Royal Holloway? But it does it work?
Because you think it does go against with the... I mean, we found the problem of the ideology problem, the obstacles of the structure and that really being changed by veganism, or welfare veganism, I guess. So you should begin straight away.
So shouldn't we be trying to, rather than shocking people and trying to change the individual's lifestyle, shouldn't we be more? Should we be focusing more on structural change and also education?
Yeah.
Not just showing people. I mean, I think people should know exactly what happens to this food that they're eating, but also shouldn't they be first educated on
education from a young age? Well, like we did say, like the food pyramid.
Yeah. So the food pyramid. People, children are taught that dairy and meat is part of their diet, but they're not taught about what happens to them at all. And actually, some people, they don't want to tell their kids that their chicken nuggets are a bird, and these kids, they maybe learn at their 8, 9, 10 kind of age, but they don't learn from a very young age.
It is a structural change.
Yeah. So I think in the education system, that needs to change, and it doesn't have to be like, I'm telling you this in hope that these children will be vegan one day, but shouldn't they just know?
They should definitely know.
Yeah, and then it's less about because you're immoral or because it's wrong to do this to animals. So it was more about this is the truth about, animal consciousness and sentience, and
ignorance is not an argument anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's something that I've been thinking about just literally in the past week after reading the article. So there's the many problems of vegan outreach and activism, and they do work for some. But, last year at iAnimal we had 300 people taking part in it, being the experience. And how many people of them? How many of them are vegan now? You live with one of them. Joe did it, but
Oh yeah, you talked about it.
He's not vegan now.
Wait, Joe is a vegan?
No, Joe went iAnimal. He said it was quite traumatic.
Yeah, it's traumatic. It definitely is.
Horrible.
Horrible. Yeah, but I'm sure he still eats pork and.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't.
You said pork.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know I do. I know. I
did that on purpose.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm saying I'm speciesist on in the same way that I say sexist things sometimes, even though I'm a feminist. It's like that. Yeah, but they...
Sorry for calling you out.
No, it's true though. No, you should, because we should all...
Call you.
No, you should call me out, because it's something... Because that's just colloquialism, I suppose, and it's just the way that people are raised, and just what you think is the right to say. Thank you. but people, these 300 people who took part, how many of them are vegan now?
Who would have thought Vlad would be doing the shots?
I know, thank you, Vlad. You're more vegan than me. No, but I don't know. So
that's
So that was pretty good.
I think that's not a bad place to
end.
Yeah, because it was like 2 hours, but
it was a wonderful experience. Thank you.
I think we got into the real obstacles of veganism. It sounds like you've come to it's more of a political. You have to align yourself more politically for it to be a progressive step, rather than just an individual.
I think being vegan is
structural changes
individual, but structural changes, I think
structural changes won't happen by individuals just becoming vegan. It happens on
like supply and demand only goes so far, I suppose.
Yeah, essentially the market really depends on you thinking that your politics is like your own thing.
Yeah.
It's like a lifestyle.
And grassroots has its limits. in that sense.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Okay, maybe not.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's I think everything.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, we're still recording?
Yes. All right. So this was the Dialectics.